Stephanie, before you start, introduce yourself to the council and to the public so they know who you are.
Of course. My name is Stephanie Gorman. I'm the Assistant Health Officer for the town of Morristown through a shared service agreement provided by the Morris County Office of Health Management. I have Janice Johnson with me today. She's our health educator, which provides all the services to the town. I want to thank Ms. Barrett and Mayor Doherty for the opportunity to speak to the council and to the public today on this topic. It's something that we face not only here in Morristown, but in the county and statewide. Tobacco products have been around for centuries. However, it was not until the end of the 19th century that the tobacco industry began advertising inexpensive, easy-to-inhale tobacco products to Europe and the United States. People of all ages, races, socioeconomic class used tobacco products. People smoked at work, on airplanes, in public buildings. It was considered a social norm. In fact, there were advertisements featuring doctors endorsing tobacco retailers, Santa Claus claiming health benefits from tobacco use, and babies claiming dads get the best of everything. However, it was not until the 1950s that research began to show a link between smoking and lung cancer. As research began to show the negative health effects of tobacco use, labeling requirements and advertising restrictions were placed on the tobacco industry. In 1930, a patent was issued for an electronic cigarette prototype. However, it never materialized. Throughout the 20th century, many people and one major tobacco manufacturer tried to commercialize electronic cigarettes, which included a request to the Food and Drug Administration to bring electronic cigarettes to the United States market. However, the request was denied. It was not until 2003, a Chinese pharmacist and inventor created the first successful electronic cigarette. In 2006, electronic cigarettes were introduced in Europe and then in the United States. Over the next few years, many countries began to ban the importation, distribution, and sale of electronic cigarettes. In 2009, President Obama signed into law the Family Smoking Prevention and Tobacco Control Act, giving the FDA the authority to regulate the tobacco industry. In the same year, the FDA issued a press release that electronic cigarettes may be marketed to young people, lack appropriate health warnings, and that they contain carcinogens and toxic chemicals such as diethylene glycol, an ingredient in antifreeze. In order to understand what the craze is all about, we have to understand what an electronic cigarette is and how it operates. An electronic cigarette is a battery-operated device designed to deliver nicotine, flavor, and other chemicals. Users fill the tank with a liquid that contains nicotine, along with flavorings, propylene glycol, glycerin, and other ingredients. The liquid is heated to a temperature of 400 degrees Fahrenheit and aerosolized for inhalation. The vapor has been shown to contain lead, cadmium, nickel, formaldehyde, and hydrocarbons, among other chemicals. In a recent report issued by the Centers for Disease Control and FDA, electronic cigarette use rose from 1.5% to 16% among high school students over a 4-year period. Many of these children will become addicted before they're old enough to understand the risks. The 2016 Surgeon General report stated that electronic cigarettes are marketed by promoting flavors and using a wide variety of media channels and approaches that have been used in the past for marketing conventional tobacco products to youth and young adults. With more than 400 brands and 15,000 flavors, it's not surprising that this selection is attributable to the increasing use among youth and young adults. If you look at recent studies that evaluate the leading causes of use, flavor ranks second highest after peer and family member use among youth. If looking at adult usage, the primary reason is for cessation, which is ultimately the product's intended purpose. With marketing tactics aimed at youth, it's important to discuss the Family Smoking Prevention and Tobacco Control Act, as it places specific restrictions on marketing tobacco products to children. These provisions include sales to minors, free giveaways of sample cigarettes, large and more visible warnings, and ban cigarettes with characterizing flavors except menthol and tobacco. These laws are designed to make regulated tobacco products less accessible and less attractive to youth. Let's take a look at some products. If you look closely at the picture, the juice box is similar to an item I would pack in my 6-year-old's lunchbox. The Sour Patch Kids are something I would buy for her at the movies, and cupcakes are something I would serve at a birthday party. So why are manufacturers permitted to market these items? Electronic cigarettes are not regulated by the FDA like traditional tobacco products. There are no restrictions on flavors. However, the FDA has issued warning letters to manufacturers for marketing tactics aimed at youth and recently contacted eBay after receiving concerns about dual products listed on their website. Furthermore, the FDA has contacted larger manufacturers for documentation to better understand youth access, but these efforts are not enough to curb youth access and use. The manufacturing of each device and electronic liquid is varied by retailer and brand. The electronic liquid may or may not contain nicotine, however, they all contain chemicals that pose health risks. Manufacturers are making electronic cigarettes so that they are not only pretty and cute, but are sleek and easy to conceal. Some look like makeup, possibly mascara, some look like a USB thumb drive, and others look like actual writing instruments. Why would you need to conceal something if you were old enough to use it? This is considered a jewel. This is considered a USB thumb drive. As a parent, how are you supposed to tell the difference? You can't. This gets plugged into my computer the same way as this. I then dock it, and it's sitting there charging.
Proceed.
Of course. Much of what we know today about smoking took decades to discover. With advancements in science and technology, we are identifying health effects of electronic cigarette use at a faster rate. This time around, it will not take decades. Currently, research shows electronic cigarette use impacts brain function, the eyes, the mouth and airways, the heart and circulation, and stomach. Due to decades of research, we already know about the side effects of nicotine use on a developing body and its addictive nature. The American Heart Association says that nicotine consumed from smoking tobacco is one of the hardest substances to quit. It's considered to be at least as hard as quitting heroin. As I mentioned previously, electronic cigarettes vary by brand and retailer. However, studies show that youth and young adults prefer Juuls over any other brand. While the amount of nicotine found in electronic cigarettes varies greatly, ranging from 0 milligrams to 100 milligrams per 5 milliliters, 50 to 60 milligrams could be lethal for an adult. One Juul pod, this small little thing that gets plugged into the top of that device, equals 20 cigarettes. So this equals this. And 240 milligrams of nicotine. This could kill an adult. But children are the primary users of this product. What also makes this specific product stand out is their use of nicotine salt. Juul uses pronated nicotine formulations derived from the nicotine salts in loose-leaf tobacco. Nicotine salt solutions contain nicotine concentrations 2 to 10 times found in most free-base nicotine electronic products. One of those pods is equivalent to 3 packs of cigarettes. As a result to increasing complaints and concerns surrounding youth access and use, we began to assess current initiatives in New Jersey surrounding electronic cigarette control. Research shows 18 municipalities in New Jersey currently license electronic cigarette retailers. Licensing helps municipalities identify where electronic cigarettes and related products are sold, but data has not yet proven licensing is effective at curbing youth use. Some municipalities have taken the revenue generated from licensing electronic cigarette retailers and implemented the Tobacco Age of Sale Enforcement Program. The TASTE program was initially implemented in New Jersey in the early 2000s as a result of the Master Settlement Agreement with major tobacco retailers. Municipalities were provided with grant funding to participate in this program to decrease tobacco use among youth. Health departments work with school-aged children to attempt to purchase cigarettes from retailers. Retailers who were found selling to a child were issued a monetary penalty ranging from $250 to $1,000. Unfortunately, once municipalities expended the grant funds, many discontinued this program. This program was successful in reducing youth access to cigarettes. Through electronic cigarette licensing ordinances, many municipalities re-implemented the program. While there's not enough data to show that licensing alone While there is not enough data to show that licensing provisions combined with the TASTE program are successful, one can conclude that over time this may reduce the frequency of retailers selling electronic cigarettes to youth and young adults. To remove the probability of a retailer selling to youth and young adults, Morristown is seeking to remove access by limiting the locations as to where electronic cigarettes may be sold. Retailers who are looking to sell electronic cigarettes and related parts must apply and be issued a retail electronic smoking device establishment license by the town's Division of Health. In order to be eligible, establishments cannot possess a license issued by the town Division of Health, such as a food license, a license for the retail sale of motor fuel issued by the state of New Jersey, and/or a liquor license issued by the state of New Jersey. Those establishments who will no longer be permitted to sell, such as your convenience stores, supermarkets, and gas stations, will have 60 days to comply with the ordinance. Furthermore, those establishments who are permitted to sell electronic cigarettes will have an age restriction placed on their business. Only persons 21 years of age and older will be permitted on the premise. This age restriction also applies to any person working in an electronic smoking device establishment. If you're not old enough to smoke, then you should not be selling the product. To assess the impact of this ordinance, a town-wide canvass was conducted in the summer of 2018 to identify electronic cigarette retailers. 16 retailers were identified. However, a recent press release issued by Rite Aid last week revealed all stores will stop selling electronic cigarettes in 90 days. So out of the 15 remaining retailers, 2 specialize in tobacco product sales. Status Vapes, which is located at Wilmot Place, and Smokes and More, which is on Morris Avenue. These 2 establishments would be eligible for a retail electronic smoking device establishment license. However, they would be prohibited from selling or providing any incidental items such as chips, soda, and candy. Since the sale of electronic cigarettes is an incidental item for the other 13 retailers, their primary business should not suffer. During the Health Division survey of retailers, inquiries were made as to the products that were sold and the age required for purchase. In addition, a visual evaluation of required signage for age of purchase was performed. Several retailers were found not displaying the appropriate signage, which is required by state law. Additionally, during the site visit, retailers were asked about the products they sell. Many indicated they do not sell electronic cigarettes, however they sell jewel pods. It's important retailers are educated on the products they sell so that they can properly restrict access to youth and young adults. Through educational outreach performed by the Division of Health, retailers will receive educational materials on local and state laws to better combat youth access and use. Under the right setting, electronic cigarettes could reduce the number of adults who use conventional cigarettes and die of tobacco-related disease. But until that happens, you must reduce and control access to electronic cigarettes among youth and young adults. Youth and young adults are not at an age where they fully understand the health consequences of using electronic cigarettes. Big and small retailers are already recognizing that and are taking the initiative to protect our youth. The long-term consequences are still unknown. However, we should not repeat history if studies are already showing the negative impact of electronic cigarette use. The restrictions and operating requirements set forth in the proposed ordinance are in line with best public health practices and FDA proposals, which will place Morristown at the forefront as it relates to combating this epidemic. I hope the council will support these initiatives aimed at protecting our youth and young adults. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that was a great presentation. Thank you so much for coming.